And welcome everyone to the 12th Facilitator Zoom call. Great to have you here and joining us. Really cool. Got a few things planned for today. So just wanted to share that. So welcome along. Everyone's been using the chat box, so I think we're all good with that. And so basic agenda for today was just to do some introductions because we've got a few new people on the call, like Rob. Welcome along, Rob. He's taking over an action group or taking on an action group that Willie Rathbone needs to step back from. So yeah, so welcome along, Rob. So we're going to do some introductions. I'll split you off into groups a couple of times just so that you can see who's on the call and introduce yourselves. And then we're going to try a bus stop today online. So yes, you're guinea pigs, and so we'll do a bus stop, but then I really am keen to get your feedback and debrief on the bus stop, so and get your thoughts and ideas. So that's what we'll do. And then I've got a couple of ideas, or other questions, anything else that you guys wanted to cover, and then a couple of ideas for what's next to finish. And that'll take up our hour. So I'll just stop sharing that. If there's anything that you do want to add to that, please chuck it in the chat box for the question time or any other things you want to cover. So please just keep chucking it in the chat box, and we can cover it at that point. And Dusty is reminding me that I need to make him a co-host so he can help me out. Cool, thanks, Dusty. Alrighty, so I'm going to split you up, and I want you to just say hello to the people in your room and introduce yourself, say how many action groups, all of that kind of stuff you've got, and get to know a few people. So I'm going to create those rooms and open them up. And go say hello.
Oh,
Hi, Libby.
I accidentally took myself out of a breakout room. I didn't know how I could do that.
You can leave your breakout room at any time by just saying I'll leave. So
you can storm out in a huff.
You can storm out in a huff if you feel like it.
I didn't mean to do that, but oh well. Now I know.
Oh, that's good. It's good to know. And yeah, so then I could, I think, well, I can't because I've closed the rooms now.
Yeah,
but I could reallocate you if you wanted to. So yeah, so it is good to know that you can do that.
Oh, good.
So yeah, look like you're in your office today.
I am, yes, and I've just had a bit of a change around with. I've got like a computer and a screen, and that's why my sound wasn't working because I had to unplug everything yesterday.
Fair enough.
Oh, there we go.
Here we go. And everyone's back. Fantastic. Cool. Good. Brilliant. Alrighty. I'm basically going to redo that. And hopefully mix you up a wee bit. And one more time, just so that you get a chance to meet people and say hi. So I'll send you back into a different set of breakout rooms. Woohoo, and welcome back, everyone. Great to have you back. So hopefully you got a chance to meet a couple of new people, or at least one new person. Any interesting facts that came out that anybody wanted to share? No? Or none?
I'd just like to say there's some bloody fantastic work going on out there. Every time I do these, I keep hearing about it, and it's just amazing. And people are trying out some of the things that we're trying on them too, Denise. So watch out, there'll be bus stops all over the place next week.
Excellent, excellent. It's good to hear.
I'd just like to just jump in, just reflect, I guess, some of what I heard, and Megan just suggesting how working with a group that she wouldn't have predicted would have entertained this online sort of space, but are keen to meet quite regularly, and it creates the opportunity to draw in experts from afar that travel might have been prohibitive, or really interesting.
Yeah, it seems to be opening up lots of opportunities, so that's cool. Good. Thanks, Brendan. Any last comment from anyone else? No, all good. Alrighty. Oh well, we are going to try a bus stop, and so the challenge was put to me. Hey, Denise, you should try doing a bus stop online.
Oh, sorry, Denise. I was just going to say we wouldn't be as good at this if it wasn't for you.
Thank you, Charlotte. I'll pay you later. It's really encouraging to hear all of the stories that you're sharing and what you're doing online. So keep up the great work, people. I echo what Lab says. So yeah, but the challenge was put to me last week. Hey, Denise, I heard that you should be able to do a bus stop online. So why don't you try it? So I went, excellent. Okay, we're going to try it out. So I'm just going to put into the chat box a link to Google Slides. So if you can just jump in to that. So that you can make sure that you can see it. I'll bring it up on my screen as well. So hopefully when you go in, you will see 3 Google Slides. And a couple of people that have jumped in. And basically you can think of this as 3 flip charts around the room. And I'm going to split you into 3 groups, and you'll start with one of these slides, and then I'll give you 5 minutes, and then I'll move you on to the next slide, and basically we'll run a bus stop, hopefully similar to how we do it in person. So we've got 3 slides. The first question number 1 is, and the first slide is, what information is essential to give to farmers before an online activity? So this is really trying to get your expertise and experience so far, what's been working, so before an activity. So if you're group 1, you can just add in and literally just write in some things like you would on a flip chart. Group 2, question 2, what's worked well with farmers during an online activity? So you've all been doing some really cool stuff and just keep on trying different things. So what's working well during the activity online? And then the last one, how have you followed up an online activity with an action group? So yeah, just trying to capture those three questions. So any questions or comments on that?
Charles here. Yep.
Yeah, Charles, go. Yeah.
So just how do you anticipate this working? Because Google Slides is outside the Zoom application. So do you anticipate us just sort of leaving the Zoom app up and we listen to the conversation but move to Google Slides? Or do you anticipate someone sharing their screen inside Zoom and being a scribe? Like, how do you anticipate it working?
Yeah, and so basically I'd love you to try what would work for you guys. So
cool.
It may be that one person decides, yep, I'll just do the notes, and others have the slides open and they can just see what you're typing. It may be that one person shares the screen and off they go, because you should, well, I think you should be able to do that in a breakout room, but let's try it. So
Cool,
we're going to find out. But great questions, Charles. So yeah. Any other thoughts, any other questions people have got? Feel free to chuck it in the chat box if you don't want to unmute. Now there's going to be 7 of you in each of the groups, so it's a slightly bigger group, but I'm confident you can manage it. So group 1, breakout room 1, Brendan, Briar, Lab, Nicola, Charles, Simon, Stephen, group 1. So hopefully you got that. I'll go group 1. Oop, no, hang on.
So group 1 is slide 1, right?
Yep, group 1 equals slide 1. And that was Brendan, Briar, Lab, Nicola, Charles, Simon, and Stephen. Slide 2, group 2, is Dean, John Stanchel, the 2 Phils, Rob, Taffy, and Warwick. So slide 2, group 2, Dean, John, Phil, Rob, Taffy, and Warwick. And then group 3 is everyone left over. So Ben, Dusty, Libby, Meg, Megan, Richard, and Tony Hamilton. Group 3, slide 3. So I'll open the rooms. there's a ask for help if you get confused on which slide you're on, and we'll move. I'll give you 5 minutes on your first slide, 2 minutes on the next slide, 1 minute on the last slide, and then we'll report back on the original slide. So yeah, I'll let you know when to move on to the next slide. And if you're on slide 1, you'll move to slide 2. If you're on slide 2, you'll move to slide 3, etc. So we'll try and keep it reasonably straightforward. So I'm going to open it up and see how we go. Make sure you assign a facilitator and a scribe.
Hi, everyone.
Hello, hang on. You haven't joined your room yet, Richard?
Sorry.
Have you got a thing to?
Haven't seen the breakout room yet.
Oh, okay, hang on. I'm just going to just ignore what I'm saying. I'm going to move you to breakout room 2 and then move you back to 3. So I wonder if I can do this. Did you get a message or not?
No message yet.
Yeah. No message. Hang on. Let's see if I go this way. More.
I'm still on your shared screen.
Yes, that's right. So I've moved you around, but if you hadn't got a...
Someone's filling in something on 3.
Oh, so you can you see a 3?
I can see people writing. Someone's writing.
Oh, okay, right, okay. And if I do this, do you get a message to say you moved to a different room?
No.
If you open up your do you get a breakout room?
Oh, hang on a minute.
Button?
I'll come back to the main screen. Join breakout room. Sorry, I was on the other screen. Yeah.
Ah, okay, there you go. Excellent.
automatically.
Well, if one person types, then they've changed the colour. Then we'll make sure we
I think it's
the
Hello.
text colour.
You're all good to move to slide 2?
Yep.
Cool. Yeah, and just choose a different color. And then stick with that when I get you to move to slide 3.
So what color do we want to be?
I'll leave you to it.
I think a good thing.
I felt that was when I first started doing it, there was a bit of reticence. They were unfamiliar with the technology and a bit afraid of making fools of themselves. But once they got loosened up and comfortable, they were much happier to kind of chip in. But I haven't had a full-on session yet, so all mine have just been sort of casual catch-ups. So
that polling to create fun, or just creating some fun, gets people's barriers down a little bit, eh?
Yeah.
You might find that you've got 1 or 2 real characters in your group that love a good laugh, and using a poll to take the mickey out of them is loosens everybody up and gets a bit of laughing going. And yeah,
no, that's a good idea. I haven't used the poll in the session before. That's not a bad idea. Might try that one. And
I did it with
I can make the mickey out of.
I did it with a group, and I made a guy drink just by putting who's going to finish their drink, and then putting all the answers being the one person. And so the whole group made the one person drink. And it's just a way of sort of using the tools and making it fun.
Yeah.
And it really did loosen everybody up.
How about
the same guy.
Yeah, so are you moving on to the next slide? Just use a different color when you move on to the next slide, please.
Are we going on to 3, are we?
Yes, you are going on to 3, please. And then I'll move you back to 1 after that. Okay, so good work.
There we go. Maybe.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice
there you
work,
go.
Megan.
That's true.
Yeah,
Oh, you're going to get this job for life, I think.
nice.
Great work.
Yeah, and it's just also just on the agenda, just about what some of the work that they've been said, or the actions that they've agreed to
Yeah.
be prepared to talk about that.
So is that agreeing with the remind them of their homework requirement?
Yeah, I guess it is. Yeah.
Or you're talking more about making sure that they're conscious for their own outcomes. They need to get their own agendas. Yeah,
it's really focusing on their own actions and what they'd agreed to do, and just come to just talk about that, any issues or any successes.
and I think prepare their own, what they want out of this coming meeting. I mean, we might have a group agenda, and we've briefed the speaker on the group agenda, but for them, there'll be some specific things that will vary around the group and what they want.
Yeah. Another thing we do is, depending on the subject and the guest, is just ask them for some questions to send through to that subject matter expert, just to prepare them.
I think we're meant to swap to the last one now.
Yeah,
We've only got a minute on the last one, I think, haven't we?
that's right. Yep. So if we can move to the last one. Looks like you're doing good stuff there, though. Thank you.
Okay.
That's worked well.
Hey, welcome back, everyone. Good work. Hopefully, you had a chance to look at all 3 of the slides. So we're just going to, I'll just share my screen, and group 1, someone from group 1, so that is, I need to find my list again. So Brendan, Briar, Lab, Nicola, Charles, Simon, or Stephen, 1 or 2 things that you talked about in terms of information that is essential for before an online for farmers before an online activity.
Charles here. Someone, and I haven't used it, but it was a great idea. Suggesting a login time versus a start time.
Nice. Yep. Yep. Give people time to familiarize themselves with the technology and make sure it all works. Yeah.
Have a cup of tea. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. That's right. Nice. Anything else that stood out?
Oh, just, setting expectations, I think, is a wrap up. We talked a lot about making sure that they were aware of, if there was an outcome that needed to happen, then they need to be aware of that going in, so that they don't just sit there and have their cup of tea, but there's actually listening going on.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I like it. Cool. Anyone else in group 1 that wanted to add anything?
I think someone's mentioned to me before about sending the Zoom link. It's good not to send it in Outlook, because if people don't have Outlook, then the link disappears once they click accept. So just having it in an email is a good idea.
I like it. Yeah, that's a nice little tip, because not everyone does use Outlook. Yeah, cool.
So do you mean in a calendar appointment versus an email?
Yeah. So you could send both. You could send a calendar appointment, but you could also just have it in an email, just the link. So if they look for it the next week, or if you send the reminder, maybe just send it in an email.
Yeah, I just send all mine out in an email so they don't disappear into their calendar.
Yep, and it's quite disconcerting for people, because where did it go? So yeah, it's a good tip for before. Nice. Good work.
A small piece of feedback, Denise. Can you and maximize the slide so we can see it, the whole page? We can't see some of the words down the bottom.
Yes. Okay. Well, I've already gone to. If I go to present, what happens then? How does that look?
Much better, thank you.
Excellent. Okay. Oh no, I've just gone out of present. I'll go back to present. All right, my bad. All right. Okay, cool. So now group 2. Who started with slide 2? Who wants to grab a couple of things of what's worked well during the online activity?
I'll start. Getting interaction from participants as you go, or using the reactions just to gauge how people are resonating with the message.
Yep. Awesome. Nice. Anything else that stood out for slide 2 from either group 2 or anyone or any of the other groups?
Yeah, I was just going to say I particularly like the using photos of somebody's farm. If you were going to normally have a session on someone's farm, you can use the photos, get them in beforehand, put them up, and then that provides a focal point to start talking. For the farmer in particular, to start talking about what they're doing.
Yeah, I've used it a couple of times. Works really well. Video clips as well. Had one farmer who had a drone, so he'd taken some beautiful photos, and yeah, pretty impressive.
That's awesome. Everyone likes photos and that kind of footage. So yeah, good stuff.
Can I just make one comment? There's a one there about using the ticks and crosses for voting. They only show up if you go into your settings and allow them. It's non-verbal feedback, I think it's called. So that's just a pointer if anyone wants to try that.
Yeah, it's a good point,
Yes.
Lab.
Thanks, Lab. Yeah, I've used that. You know, it's quite handy. Just and a bit of fun. They quite like doing something.
Definitely.
But just the host that has to make sure the settings are set up for that.
Yes, that's
Yes.
correct. Yep.
Can anybody help me with a dumb question? With the polling, so I did a poll and they quite enjoyed it. I got some feedback and bits and pieces, but then after the meeting, I didn't do anything with it at the end of the meeting. Is it still stored somewhere, those polls, or do they disappear at the end of the meeting if you don't do something with them?
It's a really good question, Simon. I think there are some reporting features within the Zoom when you go in and you can go into meetings and reports. I need to explore that a bit. Because I'd just been thinking that the other day that I needed to go back in and actually have a look at a couple of polls. Anyone else tried that? Dean, have you done anything there?
Right here, just quickly, that whether your polls are stored online depends on your settings as well. So you'll have to go and look. And if it is set to automatically save, then they will be in your Zoom account. But if it's not, then I believe they'll be gone.
Simon, I just use I just take a photo. Yeah, I haven't managed to retain any of my polls. So I just, I tend to put the poll results up and then I leave it on the screen for 5 minutes. So it gives me plenty of opportunity to with my camera, take a photo.
I had, but I thought that these were quite good. Well, the polls were about RMPP, about the use of their Action Hub and use of their action plans. And we actually had one of the farmers logging into his action plan on screen and showed that, because as a facilitator, I don't get to see their format of the, so I got to see that for the first time on their screen as they went through and went into it. And then just getting the feeling from the group about whether it was motivational to do the action plans and they polled really well and the results were interesting for me, and that they all felt motivated by doing their action plans. I thought they might feel that it was a bit of a chore, so that was one of the options, but none of them chose it. You'll be glad to hear that it was 100% motivational as an outcome for doing their action, but doing their so yeah, I'd like to have found that poll again afterwards, so that's why I was asking.
Yeah, no, it's a good question. So, sorry, Brendan, go.
I just said to Simon, go dig hard and find it.
Yes, we'd love to have the evidence. But thanks for the tip, Briar. We need to check in our settings, and I'll flick around some details that I find after this, so that if you do want to go and have a look.
Yeah. So Denise, just quickly looking in the settings under recording, there is a location set. Well, mine there's a location set as to where things are recorded. Now, whether it's only the recordings when you tick on recording the Zoom meeting, or whether it's those other things as well, I'm not sure. So go into to settings and have a look what's in there.
Yeah, cool. Sounds good. Thank you, John. Brilliant. Yeah, there's quite a lot in the settings. It's worth going through and just having a look and seeing what you can enable and disable in the settings. Nice. Alrighty, last slide, which was how have you followed up an online activity with an action group? So anyone from group 3, which was?
Yeah, Ben's pretty keen to talk.
Oh, excellent. Good volunteering, Tony.
Yeah, cheers for volunteering me, Tony. Yeah, there's probably a few of the same ones, I guess, like that poll was one that came up just at the end of a meeting, using use of a Jamboard, or, just following up via a Facebook Messenger. Again, some groups weren't utilizing Facebook or Messenger, so then it was sort of an email. Also, Tony was saying the use of hierarchy of evaluation. That's something new to me. That was sort of a score out of 1 to 10 that he'd put up at the end of a session. I don't know if you want to elaborate a bit more on that, Tony. I'll put it back on you.
What goes round comes round. I've just got a form and I can't recall where I got it from, and it breaks it down into evaluate the outcomes and evaluate the process, and there's a couple of things under each, and it takes them 30 seconds to whack a number of 1 to 10 out of it, but not to overthink it. It's pretty good.
Nice, just to get a bit of feedback on how it all went. Nice.
Yep.
Yeah, cool. Anything else that stood out for anyone on slide 3?
We talked a bit about summarising stuff and whether we do it as a facilitator or whether we actually start to identify people in the group, rotate it around, take out three key messages, which probably comes back to slide 1, is that individuals need to have their own outcomes for each of the sessions. But it gets a bit of engagement, and at least one person is committed to doing something.
Absolutely. Nice.
One thing we did with our last meeting was basically just went around the group and asked everybody for one thing that they were going to do different or change as a result of the meeting.
Nice. And then,
Just a quick comment, Denise. Just to remind everybody that adoption support's one of the third leg of the stool in extension and in the model, so that we need to spend time planning it. We spend a lot of time. We always spend a lot of time planning our meetings and what we're going to do, but we don't. I mean, I'm guilty as anybody. We don't really seriously sit down and plan the follow up on the adoption support. So, just making the point.
Yeah.
A good point, Lab, and I think it can become a discipline that if once you get it ingrained in your meetings, they expect it, they know it's coming, and it starts to get better down.
Nice. Cool. Great work, team. So I'll share those slides and send them around afterwards, but if there was anything else, that link will be open. So if you've still got it, you'll be able to do it, but I'll send them around. So there's some really good bits and pieces of tips in there. What I really wanted to do now was, though, get some feedback on how it was doing a bus stop online. So I've just put into the chat box a Google Docs, a link to a Google Docs. So if you have the chance to open that, what you should see is a Google Docs, and there's 3 sections. 1.1, what worked, 1.2, what didn't work, and 1.3, what would you do differently? So if you can jump in there, I'm going to send you back into more small groups and have a chat amongst yourselves, and between you, one person or all of you in the Google Docs, whatever works for your group, just do a quick debrief. What worked, what didn't really work, and what would you do differently? So I'll open up the breakout rooms for you to join and have a chat. 5 minutes.
Hey Denise.
Yes.
How do I get off the screen and back to Zoom? I'm on a laptop. That's where I got stuck before.
So if you go Alt-Tab and go Alt-Tab, and then what comes up, you'll have different, it'll bring up what's open.
Oh no, that gave me a spotlight. Alt-Tab.
Alt-Tab.
So I'm on a Mac.
Oh.
I wonder if it's Command-Tab.
Command-Tab, maybe? You just want to see what's open, what screens are open. Is that, no?
Let's post them there. Yeah, I've been stuck with this before, not knowing how to get back.
How to get back, yeah. Yeah, because on mine...
Oh no, there we go. If I go to the bottom. Yep. Gone.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
No worries.
God.
All good. Now, hopefully you should have a breakout room button and you should be able to join your breakout room.
No, I haven't got one.
Oh. down the bottom with all of your other.
Oh, join breakout room. There we
join
go.
breakout room. Yep, cool. Woohoo, welcome back everyone. Good work. I can see that you've been putting some good stuff on what worked and what didn't work online there. So some really good stuff that did work. It was real time, everyone was able to have a say and get all of the ideas and capture them. So that was really good. What didn't work, I didn't explain what the bus stop was. Apologies for those people who didn't realize what it was. So yep. And yeah, just different things like changing the color of your text is sometimes a bit like, how do we do that? Went a bit fast, needed to organize the breakout rooms and make sure that you did the scribe and other roles, facilitator role, that kind of stuff. Yeah, cool. Good to hear that you needed more time. Yeah, online, you maybe just need that little bit more time. So that's good feedback. And what would you do differently? Assign a facilitator better, keep it short and punchy. Okay for everyone to put in their own comments. Yeah, it's a little bit different to one person having the pen because anyone can have the pen. Yeah, I was telling you stuff and you needed to have a little bit more time to open things up because then you didn't keep listening, which is fair. More prep when using a new tool, absolutely. No, cool. That's excellent. Thank you. Any other comments from people just that you wanted to add or highlight in light of what you talked about in your groups?
There was just something that Simon was talking about at the end there that we got cut short on, but when you put the link in the chat box, might just need a bit more explaining for farmers of what the go is when you're copying and pasting into the browser. And also, because if you've only got one screen up, it'll come up with the Google Documents, and then they might get a bit lost of how to get back to the Zoom. So the easiest way to explain it would be just look at your toolbar, and if you get lost, just click on the wee Zoom icon, and it'll take you back. Because it caught me out a couple of times, when I was first going on Zoom calls as well. So just little things like that could be.
Yeah, I just got lost and had to get Denise to help me get out of. find where I was going.
You get lost in the cloud sometimes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No, really good points, because it's just one of those things that you switch between and then you lose where you are. The other little tip too is that if people aren't assigned into their breakout rooms, when you've opened a breakout room, they get a breakout room little icon on their toolbar, so they can actually click that and they'll be able to enter their breakout room. So yeah, Nicola, were you going to say something?
I was just going to say, when you had you were sharing your screen, and then so that people's faces go to the right,
Yep.
I couldn't then see the chat box because the chat box disappeared.
Yep.
But your comment had popped up at the bottom of the screen, so I could copy and paste. But once that disappears, it's like, oh, how do I find the chat box to find the link? So I don't know if anyone's got any suggestions around that.
Any thoughts from anyone? No.
I'm not sure I understand. You just click back on the chat
At the bottom, yes.
at the bottom, and it brings it back up again.
Yeah. Easy done then.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's
Well,
just having these little ideas. Sorry, go.
The last time I was in that last group, I could see the other participants in the group, but I couldn't see the screen. So is there something I wasn't doing then? Should I have gone back onto the Google Doc?
Yeah, so if no one was sharing it, you would need to go into the Google Doc yourself to see what was being put in there. Yeah, so it is having two things open, which is a little bit tricky.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
But you should be able to adjust the size of your screens, so you can have them. If you've got a decent sized screen, you can have them side by side. So you can shrink the Zoom screen and have the Google Doc side by side. So you can see both at once. It's just a matter of playing with your windows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll have a play.
It's good.
Would it work if, when you put the link up, you got everyone into that Google Doc before you actually put your one up, Denise? Would that save that confusion of having a look at yours and thinking that you're in there?
Yes, I think that's a great idea, Phil. Yeah, good, worth exploring that. Any other thoughts on that? Couple of nods.
I think when you're getting started, when you're doing this for the first time, it probably showing people what it looks like is not a bad idea. But after that, then just everybody works off the same doc.
Yeah.
That would be good.
Yeah.
Denise, someone put there about signing a facilitator better. I think identifying some roles is quite useful. And one I would add to that is maybe a chat observer, so someone that's actually looking out for the chat, because it hovers across the top of the Zoom and it's not always obvious.
Absolutely. Nicola?
I was going to say, when I did the Jonathan Duckles course, he got everyone writing using Google Docs at the start. So everyone wrote their name in when they first arrived. So it gave everyone a chance to copy the link, open it up, write it in. So it's it's that introduction, which is great.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Nicola. It was kind of getting you familiar before you actually have to do something important, for want of a better word, even though it's all important. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he knew when everybody was there as well. Yeah. So that's quite a good way of doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool.
I had a thought just for sharing around the when you're going into those the bus stops, and there's, well, I wonder what the optimal number of people is before it's complete dog breakfast, everybody typing in. I mean, I know you can do it, but should you do it?
That's a really good point too, Simon. Yeah.
And then maybe sort of 4 or 5, then you have to assign somebody to do the scribing. And I could see farmers running a mile from writing on anything online, yeah, well, mine do anyway. Yeah.
Yep, and maybe that's when you've already briefed someone beforehand and they're comfortable doing it, so that it's not a surprise for them and they're comfortable. That could be an option in terms of scribing. But yeah, a good point.
I think if everyone was able to type in, you're going to lose some of the ideas coming through because people will be just busy typing without listening. So I reckon it's better to have a scribe, just so people understand that, just listening to the others as well, because that's all part of sharing and adding to building on ideas.
Yep, definitely. That's good. And Warwick, does that answer your question? It's actually a Google product rather than a Zoom product. So I was just sharing a Google Docs with you from the Google suite of tools.
Yeah, because I don't use Google Docs, I use Microsoft stuff, so I'm kind of not that familiar with it. So you have to do it outside Zoom, presumably.
Yes. Yeah. So I set those up beforehand,
Right.
and then had the links already ready, so I could copy and paste the links through. Yeah. Yeah.
And you share that, you have to put in everyone's email addresses separately, or
no,
how do
I've
you?
just in my settings for if I go back here, if you can see up in the right hand side here, I can set what sharing options you have. So when you open it up, I've set it so that anyone with the link can edit it. And so you have to set those in both slides and docs or any Google thing. You have to edit it so that anyone with the link can change it. Otherwise, yeah. And then you just send the link. Yeah.
You can do the same with
Google Docs is wonderful.
If you've got an Office 365, if you're an Office 365 user, you can actually do the same within Microsoft online in the same sort of way.
So you could try that work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Might try that. Yeah.
Yeah. Use whatever you're familiar with, basically.
Mm.
Yeah. Okay. Conscious that it's 11:30. Any last questions from anyone? You can chuck it in the chat box or unmute and go for it.
Denise, I just wonder, are people aware that you can actually share a whiteboard within Zoom as well, if that's to graphically describe something potentially?
So that's the whiteboard. I think a few people know about that one. But yeah, yell out if that's something that is of interest, and we can explore that a bit more too.
Yeah, so Denise, the thing about the whiteboard is that it's internal within Zoom, and you can write on it just like we did on the bus stop, or like the Jamboard or Google Docs. You can use it to the same degree. In some ways, it's a bit simpler.
Yeah, it's a good point, John. Keeping it simple, absolutely. Yep, nice.
So could we try it maybe next time, or one time we could try that? It'll be quite cool to see how that works.
Yeah, absolutely. No worries.
Because can
everybody write on it?
You have to again enable that in your settings, Warwick, but yes, you can allow anyone to annotate, is what they call it. So, but you need to enable it in your settings. Yeah, Nicola.
Can you set up the 3 boxes already? Like, could you set up your pages on whiteboard, etc.? Set up space for everyone to write? Because the only thing with whiteboard is it's all over the place, isn't it? People write and then they have to shift what they're doing. It's not very good at laying it out. Maybe, but maybe I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah.
No, and that's what I've found the drawback of the whiteboard on Zoom is that it is a little bit fixed, and you can't set it up like you can a Google Docs or something beforehand, or a Jamboard beforehand. But it would be reasonably straightforward. Let's keep exploring that one. Anyone else use the whiteboard?
It's useful for trying to share concepts graphically and demonstrate something graphically.
So Denise, there's a question there. Where do you access the whiteboard from? I mean, you go to share screen, and when you push that up, the whiteboard is one of the options.
Yep. Yep. So there you go. John started sharing.
No.
No.
Didn't actually intend to do that. I pushed an extra wrong button.
Okay. If I share my screen, no, it doesn't show it. Yeah, it's quite hard to show people in the Zoom stuff, because when you share your screen, it won't show you what you're actually seeing. So have a play. When you go click share screen, you get the whiteboard. There you go. Tony has had a go. Nice.
I don't know how to write on it. Oh, there we go. There.
Yeah. Excellent.
And there's why I don't use the whiteboard, because I can't write on the damn thing.
It's as simple as clicking the pen.
Yeah.
And how do I dump?
If you want to write text, you've got to
Can you type on it?
teach people to use the text box. Yes, a big T,
Yeah.
and that comes up as a text box. But as somebody said, they don't go in order. So, and as the host, you're the only one that can change the positions of those text boxes. So you spend most of your time just sorting them, really.
Yeah.
But we saw that with the volume of traffic that was on the Google Docs, that with everybody going in there, that became a bit of a dog's breakfast too, though, doesn't it? So the whole thing's probably about limiting your group size for
Yeah,
access.
and appointing one person the scribe, which that's really good. It's good feedback.
I have seen an SME in a workshop actually use a physical whiteboard like behind me here, and he's going flat out, drawing his financial balance sheets and whatever else, pie charts, and I could see it fine as long as we told everyone to click speaker view in that top right corner, and it just brings me up. If you're on speaker view, you'll see me in a big picture on your screen, and you can easily see what I'm drawing on the whiteboard. So just another thing to keep in mind.
It's a really good point. Thanks, Ben. Yeah, so that still works. Cool. Alrighty. Next time, I'm hoping that we can get Mark Elliott along to talk about some of the evaluation data and themes that have been coming through from the action group interviews that he's been doing. So if there's any particular questions you have or you'd like to know about, please let me know. And also we'll do a little bit of whiteboard stuff as well, and anything else, just please, any suggestions, please just let me know, because we're happy to try some things out and have a go. But thank you very much for coming along this morning. Great to have you. As usual, we'll get the recording up to you, and I'll flick out the polls, how to download polls, and show you a couple of the settings and things like that as a follow-up to this. So thanks, everyone. Cool. And if you do have any other questions, please feel free to stay online. We'll stay online for a bit longer. But thanks everyone. Thanks, team.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank
Great
you.
work.
Bye.
Thank you.
Denise, if you're still there.
Yes, I am still there. Yep.
Just a quick question. Jamboard, is that another Google Docs?
It is. Yes.
Application.
It is. So if you are logged into Google, if I just share my screen again, okay, can you see that and these dots up here?
Yep.
Yep. So I'm just logged into my Google account, and when I click those dots, I come down here, and there's Jamboard. And if I
Jamboard down there, right?
Yep.
Warwick, I've got some screenshots of that I can send to you if you like.
Yep, that'd be good.
And that includes how to change the settings of sharing once you've opened up a Google Doc too.
Awesome, thanks, Dusty. And that's Jamboard. Yeah.
And you can see there by Denise's screen that all the Jamboards that you're involved in will save automatically.
Yep.
It's basically once you've clicked on the link, it will save to that. To your
So basically, it's just participants get an opportunity to write something on
a sticky note,
on a virtual sticky tag, and put it on the board.
Yep, that's right. Yep. So it's just a different tool. So.
Yeah. Looks like I'm going to need to spend a bit of time learning how to use Google Docs.
Yes, or find something like in Microsoft, there are a few different tools in there that you could probably use the same. So just use have a play with whatever you already know. Yeah, it's just that those ones happen to be the ones that I can access easily. So yeah, have a play.
I think I need to be thinking though about the farmers as well, and probably most of them are using Google rather than Microsoft. So.
Yeah, no.
I don't think it matters, Warwick, though. If they get the link, they can go into it, and if they've got an email, they can sign into Google. It doesn't have to be a Gmail either. So
we can help you on the group, Warwick. So just make sure you push your nose in and say, I'd like to learn how to do this.
Yeah, it's good.
Or whatever, so it's pretty fluid.